Hey everyone, this is Prince from Desi Programmer, and in this video we are going to talk about this multi-step form, and we are going to see how you can use this back button to not just exit the app but to come back. A pretty standard stuff, but let's take a look at it. First, if you click on simple next here, it says hey that your form should be validated. So we are going to validate our form, and next when you click on next here, now you're in step 2. You can do this and you can click on register and it's going to register or whatever you want to do. And if you click on back, you're going to come a step back instead of going there. Obviously these values are going to be reset because that's not what we are concerned about. Okay, you can do that with a text editing controller or an initial value. What we're concerned about is moving back, moving forward, coming back, and how to use this back button to not just go back the visit but to actually go back a step. Now I have created this project and everything is up and running. There are a couple of changes that I want to make. So first of all, we'll go to the prospect.yaml file, and here I will add a few dependencies that we need. I need Google font. This is a specific version that I need, but if you have an updated Flutter SDK, you can just use whatever Google font version you get, and just I am stepper to show steps and form field validator for validation. I'll save this and I will set up some basic contact here. Alright, as you can see, we have a very basic application up and running. It's nothing too complicated, nothing that you can't do. This is a basic knowledge that is required. I just have set up the theme, the font, and I have a simple stateful visit here, which is a basic multi-step. So as I have said, I'm going to talk about two different ways. The first one, the one that we're talking right here, is using just a simple bare basic Flutter widgets. Next one that I'm going to talk about, we will be using providers, and we will see how that can change the process much. So talking about basic widgets, there are again two things that people can do. What they do is that they create a stateful or a stateless widget for every page. So when you click next, you have to navigate to the page with the data from this page. So if you have 5 pages, you are sending data from page A to page B, then you are sending the data from page A and page B to page C, then you are sending the data from page A, B and C to D. Not something that we want to do. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to have a couple of variables here, and everything is going to be in this particular visit only. So we are going to have an integer which is going to be active index. I will set this to 0 by default, and then we will have a total index, and let's say that we only have 2 pages here. 2 pages because you see the same can be replicated, but I need 2 pages to show a couple of things. Next thing that I want here is that a body builder. So we have a visit which is going to be body builder, and this widget is going to not return. This widget is going to perform some switch case instructions. It's based on active index, and when the case is 0, we are going to return some other visit. For example, here we have another visit, and let's call this basic details. Okay, and this basic details visit is going to return a list view as of now. Simply, the reason why I'm returning a list view is that you don't have to handle issues with the keyboard. And here we have a simple text form field. So when the case is 0, we're simply going to return this basic details. Okay, don't need a break here. And also by default, I'm going to return this basic visit. And in the body now, we have this body builder. Save this, and now you can see that we have this simple text form field here. Let's just add some padding to make it look nice. Okay, so we have as insects dot all and a value of 12.0. Now you see, next thing that I need here is first this is first page. It could be any page, and here we are just asking for basic details. So we are going to ask for, let's say, name, email and phone number. So let me just add some decoration here. I'm not going to store this in any particular variable right now that you can do, but what I need here is a validator. So let's say we have a required validator here. Okay, simple, and we have a simple error text which says required. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Just copy this thrice. So we have name, now I have email, and we have password, and we will add just a couple of validators accordingly. So for example, for email, what I want is that I want actually 2 validators. So let me just cut this, and I'm saying that I want a multi-validator. The reason why I want a multi-validator is because first I need a required validator which says that this value is required. Okay, the next thing that I want is email validator, so that whatever value you have put up should be a valid email. So let's say valid email, sorry, it should be not valid email. Let's save this, and now we have this, and let's add something similar for password too. So this is our password. I have a simple validator. It's going to be minimum length validator. The minimum length is going to be 6 here, and my error text will be minimum 6 characters required. So now we have this. Obviously the next thing that you want is a form if you want to handle the validation. So I'll save this, Now we need here some global keys. So you see, if you have your own multi-step form, you may have multiple forms, a form for every page, let's say. So there you can have as many global keys as you want. Right now I'm just having a simple global key of the type form state. I will name this basic form key. Alright, and this form key is going to be again a global key of the type of form state. Alright, having added this, now I have to wrap this up with a widget, which is going to be our simple form widget, and we are going to have a key. So the key is going to be basic form key. Alright, let's save this. Now after this we need a button too. So we have an elevated button, right? On pressed we are going to add later on. Our child is simply going to be next, because hey, this is still our step 1. So let's save this, and this is how it looks. Obviously we have to add a couple of things here to make sure that it looks great. So this is how it looks, and all of these need to be constant. So let me just add that quickly. Alright, we have this now. The first thing that I want to do right here is to make sure that this form is validated. So for that I'll just go right here in my on text, and we are going to first check if the form is valid or not. If the form is valid, then obviously you can move to next step, or you have to first enter the needed data. This is pretty basic stuff that you all may want to do. So we have basic form key dot current state. Alright, check if it's null and validate, and if this is null, then we are going to simply say that this is false. So if this is true, then what we are going to do is that we are going to move next. Now obviously this is not true. Other thing that I really want to do put here is that I stepper, and I want to say which particular step we are on. So first let's talk about stepper. I have added a package IAmStepper, you remember. So we can just grab the dot stepper from here, and it says active step, which is going to be our active index. Remember, our indexing starts from 0. So a couple of things that I want to change here. For example, our dot radius should be some 16.0. Then I want to change the shape. So the shape should be shape dot pipe. Okay, looks pretty good, right? Then we are going to have, let's say, separate spacing, that's 10.0, and I think the dot radius I can increase it to 20, not 290, sorry, 20. Next, I just want this to be in the center and save. Okay, now this is there. You can obviously customize it later by, you know, all this indicator decoration, the active indicator and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that now. The next thing that I want to show here is a simple text that says step. Now if I just simply put active index of dollar, let's say total index, so you see, since our indexing starts from 0, it's going to say step 0 of 2 and step 1 of 2, right? Not something that I want. So after adding this styling, what I want to do here, and I think it's pretty standard stuff, we are going to say index plus 1. So it says step 1 of 2 and step 2 of 2, and with center alignment. Now what I want to do is that I want another another visit here, and basically when you click on next, everything is nice, then you can move to the next visit. Now since most of that is going to be same, I'm simply going to copy this, paste it, and change couple of stuff. So for example, this basic detail will now be education detail. Okay, I don't want a form here, because you see this is same, you can easily replicate it. I am okay with this dot stepper, I am okay with this particular, you know, step indicator. I'm okay with one text form field, I don't need the rest of them. And then here simply I have another elevated button. I don't require a validator here, and instead of next, since it's my last visit, I'm going to say simply register. So now this is looking pretty good here, right? And here obviously if everything is right, I have to move to next, and that's pretty simple. Just change the state. So we are going to have an active index. I'm going to say just plus plus, which means active index plus 1, and this 2 is going to be constant. Save this, and now you see we have everything up and running. But let's check it first and add one very little but interesting stuff here. Click on next, it's not going to work obviously. Click on friends and some password. Click on next, it says that yep, you still require an email, and just enter some random value. Click on next, it says hey, it's not a valid email. That's why we used a multi-validator, remember. Then click on @gmail.com just, and it's going to a valid email. Click on next. Now you're at a step 2 of 2. This again has the same stuff. The reason why it's so is because we haven't yet added this here. So when the case is 1, send education details, save it, and now you have this. You can click on register to register, and you can do whatever process you want. The interesting thing that I want here is that now when you click on the back button, most probably every user will think that if I want to go to step 1, you can obviously have a back button here that will just do an active minus minus and stuff will work. But what most user will think is that if you click on the back button here, then it should take you back. So click on back, but hey, this is just going to close the application. So that's what we are going to handle now. And it's going to be pretty interesting. As most of you would have already thought, we can just simply wrap this up with a will pop scope. So wrap with a widget. The widget will be will pop scope. And here we have an on will pop. But the interesting property that we need here is that first you have to check what the active index is. If the active index is not equal to 0, then you don't want to go back. Okay, so first what you want to do is that you want to say that the active index is not equal to 0, which means decrease the value of active index. Then call SetState. And then finally return false, which means no, you don't want to go back. So we have a return false. In other cases, we can simply return true. And here I am just going to add async because it accepts a future value. So either return a future.value false or just add an async. Now if we save this, okay, let's add a valid name and email. A valid password, click on next. You are here, you again enter your education detail, but you suddenly remember that hey, maybe my email was incorrect. Just click on back and there you are at step 1. So yeah, that's pretty much it from my side, where we have discussed the simple stuff about multi-step form. You can add as many steps as you want, you can customize this as much as you want. But the interesting stuff is that since it's everything here, you are just going to clutter your code. It's going to be filled up with a single widget, everything is going to here. And if you are having more complex widgets here, then the single set state is going to cause many errors. And that's why in the next video we are going to see how you can distribute this into multiple actual stateful widgets or stateless widgets, and how you can use a provider to access data in all those widgets without having to pass the data to and fro much. So I'll catch you up soon in the next video.